Guys and dolls, had to capture the sunset going down. You aren't going to see it, but I am. But hope you're all good. Um, yeah, quite a lot of you are a bit upset right now. To be honest with you, what's happened with Lubna? There's no two ways about it. You know, it's like I say, I do my videos, what's in my head. You know what I mean? Um, that's always the way I've worked. You know, whatever's in my head, I talk about. You know, whatever's going on in our world, in our lives, in our politics. I just talk about it as I see it logically, you know, and logically this is a difficult one, you know. This is a difficult one because, you know, it's like I understand them going against us. I understand them going and trying to silence us, and you know, probably some of them do believe we are far right because we're Christians, and I think they just think because we're so going on about the Christianity thing. You know what I mean? It's like, you know, as a Northern Ireland man, it's they don't understand. You know what I mean? It's they don't understand me. You know what I mean? Um, Come on, girl. If they don't understand me, um, they don't understand when we're talking about Christians. It means a lot to us because Protestants and Catholics, and it's our common denominator. You know what I mean? And, you know, it's been a tough old time for us in Northern Ireland. But, you know, there's other reasons why they would call us far right. And so I'm going to make in there. You know, just because we're talking about immigration and what they're doing and the different nationalities and how much crime they're committing, etc., etc. And maybe they just don't understand that that's wrong what they're doing. And for us to complain about it, then we must just hate them. You know, I'm just logically obviously trying to process everything, you know. But like the thing about what one want to talk about. Let's talk about the Afghani men, okay, and their culture of this. Can't remember the Arabic word. have been trying to learn it, but it's just really difficult. It is Arabic, you know what I mean. I'm not great with my Arabic, to be honest with you, you know. But yeah, it's translated as boy play, and it's a culture where they abuse boys. And you know, I think it was Not Today Satan that deep dived it, you know, and it's perfect, you know, for my channel to also relay it to you of the psychological stuff behind it, you know, for Afghan men, you know, because you've got to understand this is in their culture. This is what they do, you know. The statistics and the figures are horrifying of how many boys are, you know, there's no other word for it, guys, but raped. And, you know, and these boys grow up and they do the same thing. You see the psychology of it, you know, there's victims, you know, I don't like to always say it because, you know, there's a lot of boys that have been abused that didn't turn out to be abusers or didn't turn out to be gay, and there is scientists and sociologists that proclaim that majority of men, you know, and I don't know the figures about it or the rest of it, but I've never been one of them ones that disrespect a survivor that's, you know, got through it and managed to avoid the mental bit of the grooming and all that, and managed to carry on his own path and not let it affect him. For somebody to turn around and say something like that. So I've never really looked at it that way. But with saying that, with having such a pandemic in Afghanistan, you know, where this was a normal thing. It was like, see the way we would go to a casino, or we would go to, like the boys would go to like Belgrade, I don't know, Thailand, you know, when boys go on a hang out, it was something like that. And it was also, as far as I'm aware, it was more the richer people, you know what I mean? And yeah, and then, you know, at the same time, you know, like I say, these children become men, and then they suffer because of they being abused, and maybe they become abusers, you know, and it's understandable, you know what I mean, and the psychology of it, and it's the same with the Pakistani men, you know, the figures of 9 out of 10 street boys being raped. Um, It's horrifying. I was a street boy. Spent most of my life, my young life on the street, you know what I mean? And I had an amazing childhood. You know, I really did have an amazing childhood. And, you know, even like out with the bonies, I can remember when I was really young and the bonies and that, and I can remember the schools getting leaflets telling the kids not to burn the bonies because there was an orphan, a wee homeless boy, fucking orphan, I don't know what they called me. I seen the leaflet, that was a long time ago. And yeah, they were telling people because that's where I stayed. You know, what I mean, I lived. You know, what I mean, when it was bony season, I was out. Where whoever was trying to hold me, children's homes, Rathgill, whoever, I was gone. And no, whole Marston season, I was away. You know what I mean? Police were far too busy to be looking for a wee man like me. Trust me, back in the day, like you know. So it was really exciting, and you know, there was always food around the fire, the campfire, because we guarded our bunnies all the time. We had wee campfires and huts set up, and you know, it was warm and cozy, and it was somewhere safe for me to sleep. And the older boys looked after me. And you know, it's no until you experience and you research and you get the knowledge of what I have in my head that I truly appreciate my wee country and my wee country folk, because I was safe as houses. But 9 out of 10 street boys, you know, that's on another level. So you know what we got to look at as well. 9 out of 10 street boys become older boys, you know, and these are the kind of boys that will be travelling. You got to understand that, you know, us street boys, we grow quick, we learn quick, and you know, these ones, I imagine, will be trying to make their way over here if they know what's going on over here, you know, and if they have become predators themselves because of abuse that they've went through, but quite a lot of the psychology, the sociology behind it is what they say that can happen. You know, most major predators we know always claim to be have been abused at a young age, you know. Um, so there's so many ways of looking at this, but there's only one way as a father of a daughter that I can look at it. You know, I'm sorry that this is happening in these countries to these children, and I'm sorry that these children have turned out, maybe some of them have turned out to be predators. And I'm sorry for you guys that I don't want you here, because we don't know how to vet you. And there's been too many children affected. But we're now starting to understand why. We're starting to understand it now. We're starting to really get to know what's going on, you know. And it makes us be able to go forward in a way where we're able to explain ourselves better. It's not just like no more boats and refugees out, or you know, it's like we understand. We understand, you know. Same with I'm not going to go through all the countries, the major countries that have committed sexual offences in England and Wales, because that's the only figures we've got. And I was like getting blood out of a stone. I mean, that wasn't even the government that give us them figures. That was independent guys that done that, and from Freedom of Information and all that, and working out, asking different questions. You know what I mean? Honestly, like the government are saying they're going to release the figures, but you know the figures are going to be in a way where, you know, a lot of men that came from other countries have now got citizenship, so they're now British. So when the figures come out, it won't really represent truly who the people are, you know, because they, you know, I don't think it's going to say Pakistani British. I think that's why the Labour are bringing it out. And yeah, just getting the sun. It's really nice, and plus it thingies the camera. But you know, we do understand it. You know, we're starting to learn a wee bit more about the culture, what's going on, why this is happening. You know what I mean? And we're just working class guys. You know what I mean? These guys have known this for a long time. They'll never forget that. They've known what's going on. They've known the damage. They know what's been. You know, it's just, and it's got worse. It's got worse because word's out. Word's out amongst all the criminal foreigners around the world that Britain, if you just get a boat to Britain, they give you a hotel, they give you a phone, and you'll eventually get a house. And let's be honest, who in the world, if it was you, I'd be swimming over here if it was me. Let's be honest, guys, you know, if you were in one of these countries. But, you know, at the end of the day, we have our own problems. You know, it's not working out. It's clearly not working out. It's not working out in so many ways. But, you know, that's England and Wales and Scotland, okay? We are Northern Ireland and Ireland guys, you know, and at the end of the day, it's going to work out okay here. You know what I mean? Because we're getting the information and the knowledge now, and we're seeing exactly what the results are from irregular immigration. And obviously they know that as well, so they're trying to get as many in as possible. But as long as we're under an understanding that these people are coming in illegally and unvetted and all the rest of it, so when we do get into power, we will be removing them. You know what I mean? Because they have broken the law, and they've only broken the law under, like I say, a traitorous government. So when a government that comes in that's true and loyal to the people, then they will do what needs to be done. And I will give this message out to anybody thinking of this willy-nilly sneaking into Belfast, Northern Ireland from Dublin or England or Wales or Scotland. Yeah, enjoy it where you can. You know what I mean? But I do imagine the men of Northern Ireland and Ireland will soon vote in a political party that will remove every single one of you. So, I wouldn't get too comfortable. I'm not saying it in a bad way. I'm just saying to you, like, you know what I mean? It's like there's many ways of doing things, and doing it illegally, it's never worked for me. I'm Freedom Dad. God bless.